Hey folks, so we're going to do a video here on our piglet evaluation process and a few of the details that fall in line with that, such as our ear tagging, our replacement procedures, things like that I hope you'll find beneficial. We're going to break this down into 4 videos. As I started doing the editing on this and looking back, it was well over an hour's worth of footage with some of these post things that I'm doing here. That'll make it probably close to an hour and a half. So I'm gonna take some of these to condense some of this stuff. So you're gonna see a few of me just sitting here probably drinking a cup of coffee or tea as I kind of explain some of this stuff. So to start with, we're gonna go over the who, what, why, when, where of evals. So we raise registered Idaho Pasture Pigs. If you don't raise registered Idaho Pasture Pigs, then a lot of this is going to be not as beneficial to you as if you did raise this breed. There's going to be a few things like the ear tagging system you may find beneficial. The replacement policy could probably still work for most registered breeds. But it's still going to be this is very tailored to IPPs. It's what we raise, and we will never raise another breed of pig again. We've raised most types of pigs, and we'll do a whole other video on specifically IPPs and why we raise that breed and why we love them so much. This is just on our eval process. So let's start with the who. You know, if you're watching these videos, then you know I'm Caleb Howerton with Green Thicket Farms. My wife and I own and run this. It's just the two of us. We make it work. We've got, at the moment, what is there, 5 sows and 3 gilts that'll be bred this spring here. So we do a few. We've got 2 boars. We typically have anywhere from 5 to 8 litters twice a year, spring, fall. So we do a lot of evals. I did an eval session in person at the last IPPBA show in Tremonton, Utah. I'll be doing another one in person in the Utah show, or not the Ohio show, I'm sorry, the Ohio show coming up on June 10th, 11th, and 12th. I'll be evaling 2 litters there in person, so hopefully you'll come to that and you'll get to see that. If not, you get to watch these videos. But there is just a lot more that I can explain in person than I can in video, so I definitely recommend going to that show. And some of these 2 litters that we eval today, a lot of them were easy for me to eval, simply because there's a lot of very obvious feeders in this litter. I prefer when I have those litters that are really, really hard, and I'm like, oh, I gotta make some tough decisions, you know. Some of these were pretty easy, and I was able to cut out large chunks of the litter without any issues. Which, like I said, and that's no fault to the parents. We're evaling litters of my 2 favorite sows. So it kind of just is what it is. Sometimes genetics is just a crapshoot, so that's just the way it goes. We're evaling Idaho Pasture Pig litters. So you need to do, let's just roll that into the why. So I guess we've already hit the what. They're Idaho Pasture Pigs. They're 2 litters. The mothers are oatmeal and biscuit. You can see them on our website. Plus we'll probably throw them in that wrap up, the 4th video that we'll do here in this series. So that you can kind of get an idea of what the parents look like. I'll throw on a couple of pictures of the father too to see what they paired out, as well as the piglets that we'll keep back as breeder piglets to sell. So when you're raising Idaho Pasture Pigs, they're registered. There is almost no non-registered breeding IPPs out there, for good reason, right? We want to make sure that we're kicking out the best quality. This breed's been around since about 2007, since when it was released to the public. And we want to make sure that we're releasing the best quality piglets that we can, right? So that we are continually furthering that selection of the breed. The breed's not been around forever, so we're still making those selection criteria. And this is not like, I know a lot of people will take this back as oh, well, if you're still making selections, then is it actually a breed, yada, yada, yada. Okay, I know people that raise registered breeds that have been around for years. Berkshires, Durocs, Kunis, which are the 3 breeds that originally were the composites for this, but even Ossabaw Islands and any number of other breed. If you have, and not even just pigs, sheep, cattle, selection is an ongoing process for every breed. There's always something to improve. There's actually a breed of sheep, and I can't remember the name of it, so I'm not going to waste too much of your time for me sitting here trying to think of the name of it. But when they made their breed standard, there was no sheep that met that breed standard. And to this day, there is still not. They're continually working to get towards that goal. And that's what we're trying to do with IPPs. We know that there's always things we can improve. So we want to breed and keep only the best of this breed. And now that means, the best of the breed may be that the daughter or boar piglet just does better than its mother or father. And that's fine. As long as we're aiming for that continual improvement, that's okay. You may have a sow that is registered that you don't really like. That doesn't mean you have to cull her and just pretend like nothing happened. She probably still has some traits that are great. I had a sow, Penny, I don't even think I have pictures of her up on our website. Not a great looking sow by any means, but she would routinely have very large litters and keep pretty well all of them. And she had a great build and size, even for having been stunted. So she had a lot of traits that I wanted to keep. So I retained back 3 gilts from her, culled her, and then I'll do the same with her gilts. I will probably let them stay 1 or 2 litters, and then I'll save the best from their litters and cull and keep going until I hit what I consider to be on par with the rest of my herd. And then once that happens, I won't have to be as strict about replace, cull, because that's very, very difficult on me having to continually get new boars or running my COIs a little bit tight on pairings with those. We'll go into a whole video about COIs later to explain. I don't want to ramble too much in this intro video here. So that's why, right, we're wanting to continually improve. And the best way to do that is to retain the best of the best, which means being picky, especially in these, and not even just in these early formative years, even if you're raising a breed that's been around forever, China Whites, Poland Whites, Berkshires, Durocs, Kunkunis, just to continue to name them over and over. Even then, save the best of the best. 25 to 30% max of that litter as actual good breeding quality piglets. Narrow down, and that's even when I have litters that look fantastic. That's what I say, making those difficult decisions, right? If I have a crummy litter, I may save less than that. Like we will in this video, I will be saving less than 25% even out of my best sow here. But even when I have a litter that's fantastic, I'm still not going to save more than 25 to 33% out of that litter, because then I get to be pickier. Then I get to make sure that those piglets that leave are even better. I want to send out the best piglets possible, and that's what we should all strive to do. So when you're going to do this, I aim for 3 to 4 weeks old. I've been keeping an eye on these piglets, the entire time that they're going. You'll hear me say that in the video, oh, I've had my eye on this one. But just because I've had my eye on that piglet doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to meet quality, because there are some things that I don't get to see as easily while they're out just running around. I don't get to see teat counts. I mean, sometimes I can. Sometimes if they're real, I've gotten to spend, my life's not too hectic right around when I have piglets. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it doesn't. This litter I didn't get the chance to. So if I get to spend more time with the piglets, then I get to lay out there with them. If it's not a rainy, muddy spring like this one, you get to scratch them a bunch and they'll roll on their backs, and then I can kind of get a teat count and get an idea of what's going on. But if I haven't, I may just be looking at that build and be like, oh, I love that build. But then I may pick it up and it may have a funky teat count that's, 5 and less, or I don't do less than 6 on teat count. We'll get into that a little bit better in the videos. So I may not get to see that until the end. So even though it's one I've been keeping an eye on, I think there's a couple in this video series that, I've been like, oh, I like this one. I've been keeping an eye on it, and that, the teats are funky. I'm going to throw it. Or, I just didn't notice this when it was a little closer away. Or there's some of them that, you hold them up to the camera, or you look at just individual snapshot pictures. It's hard to get the way they actually look in person. So there may be some that I'm like, well, this face looks funny on the camera, but in person it looks fine. Or these little things that you notice about its personality that I may not be able to pick up out on the field. Like there's 1 or 2 that I'm like, you're just squealing up a storm. And you'll see as I pick these up that that's a huge difference between IPPs is their temperament. And a great way to judge temperament is while you're evaling. If that piglet is struggling a bunch, screaming a bunch more than normal, like there's going to be a little bit, but not much, not with IPPs, then we're going to throw it back and it's just going to be a feeder. So I like to do this in a spot away from the sows. I don't like to do it out in the field. That's why I bring them here into our garage, which we've converted. We're rock climbers, so we have a big rock climbing wall built into our garage, and then the other half of our garage is my wood shop. This is behind big picture windows off on the side here. I've got plenty of light that comes in from natural light. We do have lighting in the garage, it's not real great. But I like to do this so that any little squealing that happens, it's behind closed doors. Then the sows can't hear it, they can't get stressed out. It's just one more little bit of thing to try to reduce stress on the farm. And you're not like, oh, I gotta go quick. You can take your time. So I recommend having somewhere that's kind of off to the side. I catch them, put them in a little dog crate, wheelbarrow them over and bring them in here, and then work through at my own leisure. And then I can put them back out, and then throw their moms back in with them. I pull the mom out when I catch them. Just saves a little bit of stress from everybody. A lot of my sows, I can catch the piglets while the mom's in there, and it's not a big deal. Especially helpful that the piglets don't scream too much, because then they're not stressing their moms out. Some sows I can't do that with. They're a little bit more protective. So with all the sows, I just go ahead and pull the sow, put them in another paddock, and then catch the piglets. Yeah, so like I said, this is going to be a 4-part video. We're going to touch on this intro video here. I'll go ahead and throw a little bit else in there after I'm done talking here. We'll do a whole video just on the evals. That'll be part 2. And then we'll do another video number 3 on other info. So a tags section, probably our replacement procedure, and then we'll do that 4th video will be wrap up. So wrap up is going to be pictures of the selected breeders, the piglets that we kept back, their parents, a little bit of talk on why we wound up settling on them. A little bit of that will already be in the eval video, but we'll try to touch a little bit more in depth on that. Yeah, so if you find this content helpful, it's really, really helpful to us to be able to get a wider reach to an audience, and to know that we're doing something that people find valuable. If you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and then share it with your friends. Thank you, folks.